Alright guys, and welcome back to the Saints View, the channel for something content for our match preview and predicted lineup ahead of our game at home against Crystal Palace. We're looking for 3 wins in a row. Could we finally achieve that? It's been a long time since we did it. Apologies that I've got a film on my phone. I'm having technical problems with my camera yet again, so that's annoying. But it's not going to be too long a video because the game is coming so quickly. You know, I still don't really understand how the league can allow games to be played within 2 days of each other. It's ridiculous, to be honest. It's not protecting the players at all. But it's the last game of 2019. Both sides seem to be in decent form. Could be a decent game. Of course, we've got to start on reflecting on that incredible victory against Chelsea yesterday on Boxing Day. 2-0 away at Stamford Bridge. 2 brilliant goals as well. Michael Obafemi's stunner and Redmond finishing off an incredible team goal. It's definitely the best result we've had under Ralph over the year and a bit that he's been here. I think it was our first win away at a top 6 side in the Premier League for almost 4 years, which tells you everything about Southampton over the last couple of seasons. Just massive. I mean, Chelsea were pretty lethargic. We were excellent. Long may that continue. That makes it 4 wins in 6 games for us, which is a lot better. We've started to climb the table a bit more. Unfortunately, it seems with the nature of this season, other teams around us keep winning somehow. So we're still only 3 points clear of the relegation zone. Villa did get their win against Norwich yesterday, but we're now up to 14th. It's so tight at the moment. And with our inferior goal difference, really, we need to keep picking up results. But of course, this game is at home, and home game seems to be a completely different animal when compared to away games. I mean, look at our team goal that we scored. You know, some of those back passes would have been booed if made at home. And, you know, the fans need to get on sides. They need to understand that we've been playing well recently. You know, the only bad game that I can remember over the last, I think, month was West Ham. I mean, you know, we didn't show up, and that's because we were at home. It genuinely feels like that. It feels like when we're at home, we just don't have much of a chance. But we've got 3 points against Chelsea. We've got this game in the end. We've got Spurs on New Year's Day to round off the festive fixtures. I think if you would have told me that we'd get 5 points from those 3, I would have been quite happy. But now that we've beaten Chelsea, I guess we should kind of look and think that we could get at least 7. But that has to start with a win tomorrow. And our record against Palace is decent enough. It's been quite even over the last couple of seasons. We've beaten them the last 2 trips to Selhurst Park, but we haven't beaten them at home since the Claude Puel season. So it does seem like the away side always tends to do better when Crystal Palace and Southampton meet. But on to Palace now. I've been quietly impressed with them. I think they've gone under the radar a little bit this season. They haven't been scoring that many goals, but defensively they've been quite resolute at the back. I think the signing of Gary Cahill is massively underrated. Getting him on a free, he seems to have sort of solidified the back line for them. They're up to 9th. They won their Boxing Day game as well, 2-1 at home to West Ham. And also, like us, they seem to be a better side away from home, which could be a problem for us tomorrow. Of course, we know all about Wilfried Zaha, you know, the sort of player he can be when he's on form, especially when he gets wound up by James Ward-Prowse. But Jordan Ayew also seems to be a bit of a goal scorer this season. Scored a sensational solo goal on Boxing Day against West Ham. So he's going to definitely be one to look out for. I can't really sort of think about the team that much, to be honest, because it may be heavily rotated. Who knows? Of course, I'm no expert on Crystal Palace, so to give ourselves a bit of a better idea on what sort of Crystal Palace side we could face tomorrow at St Mary's, I've asked Harvey from 90 Min, who's a Crystal Palace fan, also runs his own channel, Red and Blue site, to give us some insight on all things Palace. Take it away, Harvey.
Hi there everyone, Harvey here from the Red and Blue site YouTube channel, Crystal Palace fan. Thank you very much to Dan for having me on his channel. Hope you all had a great Christmas and are ready for this fixture. Obviously coming thick and fast during the Christmas period. Palace away to Southampton. Big game, of course. Not so much for Palace now after a fantastic win on Boxing Day with a Messi-esque finish from Jordan Ayew. I still cannot believe what I've just witnessed yesterday watching that game. But yeah, I think this is a big game for Southampton. All the games are big now, and I think you're starting to get a few good results in the bag. That Villa result was massive. Danny Ings on fire, and I think keeping him fit is the main route to success for you guys this season in terms of staying up. I definitely think he is the one player that stands out from the rest, is putting in the extra amount of work that needs to be done to stay up. You have got a good squad. I do think it is good enough to stay up. this season. And you got the right man. I know you had a few shocking results, including, I'm not going to talk about it too much, but that Leicester result, we all know what happened there. But in Hassan Hutel, I do think you have a very good manager as well, who plays a very, very good style of press and can get into teams' faces. And I do think that sort of energy, that sort of passion from the manager, that sort of style of play is really important when you're in a relegation battle. You need to have players who are willing to put in the hard work, and I think that you've got the players to do that. But if we're looking at the game specifically from a Palace point of view, we're going to probably rotate a little bit if we can. I mean, Van Arnold pulled up with an injury. It looked like a hamstring strain against West Ham, so he won't be playing. We've got one of the worst injury crises we've had since Roy took over, in all honesty. So we are quite lacking in certain areas. Defence, luckily, Sacco came back from a 3-game suspension against West Ham on Boxing Day and played amazingly well alongside Tomkins. That partnership a few seasons ago came, I think it was 5th in the league in terms of clean sheets kept. So that centre-back partnership is very, very strong, very, very solid. And before Cahill came in, it was probably our first choice centre-back pairing. So that is a plus for Palace, and obviously 2 players to watch out for Southampton. You've got to be having on a top day going forward if you're going to get past those 2. And then, of course, looking at the midfield, we may rotate. Max Meyer started against West Ham, which was great to see. We need that bit of creativity in the midfield. If there's one criticism of Roy, it definitely is the fact that we find it hard to break teams down that sit back against us. And I feel like Southampton might be able to do that. It may be hard for us to break you down if we have those 3 defensive midfielders in Luca, MacArthur, Chiarte. All 3 have been really, really good, especially Chiarte and MacArthur, in my opinion. They've been fantastic. Luca has scored against Southampton in the past. Scored a winner a few years ago. So we've got players there that know how to win against Southampton. We've got players who are all on good form at the moment. Zahara, of course, and Jordan Ayew up top will be 2 players who are massive. Benteke is injured. And again, it goes back to my point on injury crisis. We need to make signings in January. But with the squad we have, there may be 1 or 2 rotations because of the fixtures coming thick and fast. Only 48 hours between the 2 games. But I am confident of a win. I do think that if Ayew is on the form Ayew's on, the way he works for the team, very much like Danny Ings, very much a hard worker for the team off the ball. And I do feel if we can put that pressure onto you the same way we did against West Ham, we'll follow up that win with another win away to you guys. But there's no doubt about it. When you're in a relegation battle, you never know what results will come out, and you know, you're fighting for your lives. I wouldn't be surprised whether it's a win, loss or draw, to be honest, for Palace, or obviously vice versa. It could be any result this. I know that's not the best of predictions. If I had to predict a result, I'm going to go with 2-0 Palace, just because of the way we're playing at the moment. I do think that we're on that sort of form, that sort of energy, where I can see us getting another result and getting a couple in the bag. And we've obviously got Norwich on New Year's Day, so it's important we keep these results coming in, especially the way we're hunting for potentially a European spot. But it will be very, very tough. I know what it's like being in a relegation battle. I'm still looking over my shoulder every now and then whenever we lose. So I know what the situation Southampton are and you guys are in, and I do think you will stay out of trouble. But really looking forward to this game. My prediction's 2-0 Palace, but it really could be any result when you're in a scrap like Southampton are.
Thanks for doing that, mate. Now, onto the predicted lineup part of the video. With the games coming so quickly in such a short space of time, I really do sympathise for Ralph in terms of the team selection he has to make. He didn't really rotate that much for the Chelsea game, which potentially proved decent because we came away with the 3 points. But will we suffer from that against Palace? There's a possibility he could play some youngsters. It seems unlikely, but this is the team I think he's going to go with. Goal, I think it's going to be McCarthy. I think that's a pretty obvious choice. He didn't have to do much against Chelsea. First choice at the moment, has to stay in. Now at right back, I think he may be tempted to go with Kevin Danzo. Now, Valerie's ill, so he's not going to be back until the new year, meaning that there's a potential for him to come in against Spurs, but Cedric's been playing so much recently, he's bound to be tired, and I think Ralph may just have to opt for taking one of his centre-backs and putting him on the right. Centre-backs, I think he's going to keep one of Stevens and Bednarek. Personally, I think it might be Stevens because he's been the better defender recently. But I think for either one, Yoshida will come in. We could also see Vestergaard come in, and then it's a completely different pairing. That's a possibility. But centre-backs don't have to run too much. I think there's a good possibility that actually Bednarek and Stevens stay in. But if I was Ralph, I think I need to rotate one of my centre-backs because we don't want them getting tired and fatigued and then injured. At left-back, I think he's going to have to stick with Bertrand. There's no backup at the moment unless he's tempted to play Jake Vokins, which personally I think could be a good shout. Bertrand's been playing really well recently. I think he can cope with playing fixtures sort of so quickly and in such little time, but it's going to be really tough for him. So again, Ralph may be tempted to sort of put in a makeshift left back by changing one of his centre backs and putting them on the left, or bringing a winger sort of deeper. But I think it will be Bertrand once again. Now in the midfield, I think Højbjerg has to be rested. He looks so fatigued. Against West Ham he did, against Villa, against Chelsea. He's been playing a lot of football. He just needs a rest. And so Romeu should come in, natural replacement. That's pretty simple. Then I think it'll still be James Ward-Prowse, like I said, in my predicted lineup for Chelsea. He's one of our fittest players, so the chances are he will just stay in there, to be honest. In front of the midfielders, I think it's going to be Buffon and Redmond, like Ward-Prowse. Redmond's one of our fittest players, so we'll probably be able to cope. As for Buffon, he came on against Chelsea for a bit. It seems pretty obvious that he's going to start, definitely deserves to start. And it also seems like there's a lack of options at the moment with wingers. Gineppo seems to be injured again, which isn't good, obviously. So I don't really think Ralph's got much of a choice, to be honest. And then up front, if you can put money on any player to start, put it on Danny Ings, because he was rested for the Chelsea game, came on for about 20 minutes. And so surely he'll be starting. There's no way he's rested for this one as well. But we need our top goal scorer, 11 Premier League goals this season, 13 in all competitions. I don't really think there's much else I need to say about that. I think it'll be Michael Obafemi partnering him. Great goal against Chelsea. And he came off before Adams, which kind of gives me the indication that he was sort of being rested for the next game because he has to play some sort of part. So I think it will be Ings and Obafemi up front. So to run through that team, I think it's going to be Alex McCarthy in goal, Ryan Bertrand at left back, and Kevin Danso at right back. Then Maya Yoshida and Jack Stevens as the centre backs. In the midfield, I think it's going to be Romeu and James Ward-Prowse, with Sofiane Buffon and Nathan Redmond ahead of them. And then up front, Danny Ings and Michael Obafemi. Now, onto my prediction. You know, I'm not actually that confident for this one. I think it's one of those where it's come so quickly, almost too quickly. I know we're in great form, that's fine, or good enough form, but home games are completely different. Palace are good away. I think they'll settle for a point. I think my head is saying 1-1. And, you know, maybe a point would be a good result. It wouldn't be the worst result. Obviously, we don't want to be losing games. You know, pick up points at home because we need to change that form. Winning against Villa and Chelsea were massive statements. So I think we need to go out and win it again. I'm going to go for 2-1 Saints. I still don't back us to keep clean sheets at home. But I think we could have enough to beat these. We should have enough to beat them. It's a problem with the fatigue. You just don't know when the games come this quickly. And I really do sympathise with the players and definitely the managers having to make those choices. But thank you very much for watching the video, guys. If you enjoyed it, leave it a like. Let me know your score predictions for the game tomorrow down in the comment section below. Remember to subscribe if you haven't yet already. Turn notifications on. Follow us on all our socials. And we'll see you tomorrow as we hopefully review another win. See you then, guys.